morning, grade 11 chemistry students. Today, what we're learning about is, again, our different types of reactions. This is the second lesson in our chemical reactions unit. We're learning about synthesis, decomposition, single displacement, double displacement, and combustion, identifying those types of reactions, but also being able today specifically how to predict the products of different synthesis and decomposition reactions. So, along with your textbook, we're going to be able to really define what a synthesis and decomposition reaction is. So you've already learned how to classify and bounce word equations, or sort of briefly classify. We're going to talk about this one a little bit more. But you are going to learn today how to predict the products in chemical reactions, specifically synthesis and decomposition, and actually identify synthesis and decomposition reactions. So let's begin and talk about synthesis and decomposition reactions. Let's start with synthesis. What is a synthesis reaction? Well, a synthesis reaction is when two or more different substances combine together to form a compound. Okay, so we simplify this by saying, again, A plus B equals AB. You have two things coming together. You're synthesizing something. You're making something that's larger than your reactant. So your reactants come together to form a big product, AB. Our analogy for this, guys, from grade 10 is marriage, okay? Where you have two things coming together to form something very large. Now, we have a couple different scenarios here, okay? The first scenario, which we'll talk about quickly, is when you have two nonmetals coming together to form a covalent compound. With this one, you can never determine the product, okay? So you can't determine product. So for example, if I say, okay, I have phosphorus, which is elemental form is P4, and oxygen, which is diatomic, it's O2, you need to know what product it makes. Well, I have to tell you this one. If you have two nonmetals coming together to form a covalent compound, I have to tell you what it forms in order to figure it out. Then you have to balance this one on your own and see what you can do. In this case, it would be 2. That's balanced there. That's 10. So this is the correct balance equation for this one. The next situation is number 2, which is kind of the most important one, is you have a metal plus a nonmetal will form either a binary or a multivalent compound. Let me show you what this one looks like. Okay, let's look at an example here. I just made this one up. I picked a metal, potassium, and I picked bromine, which is diatomic, my nonmetal. We're going to add them together. And what we do to find out what they form is you just make an ionic compound because you have a metal and a nonmetal. And we know that potassium is a group 1 element, has a positive 1 charge. We know bromine is a group 7 element, has a negative 1 charge. You just cross it over and you get KBr. Now something different happens when we have a multivalent metal. Let me show you what I mean. When we look at this type of reaction, we have to decide, okay, we're going to get our metal first and our nonmetal second. Remember, we don't bring that 2 along. It's just oxygen. And then we look at our charges, and you'll notice that you can have a 2 or a 3 here. So what that means is, guys, is that it's actually going to form two products. You don't know which one to pick here, so you actually have to pick both. So to start, I'm actually going to pick the 3 to start, bring down the 3, and bring down that 2. That's one possible product. Let's see what the other possible product is. Well, our other possible product is the 2 plus charge, and so we cross that over and reduce, and it ends up being just FeO. Now, if we look here, this is going to have two products. Now, depending on the reaction, you don't know which one it's gonna like more if we're gonna do this reaction, if we're gonna take iron plus oxygen. But according to you guys in this class, we're gonna say that they happen equally, okay? So 50% of the time, iron will choose the 3, and 50% of the time, the iron will choose the 2. And this happens only in multivalent situations. The binary situation, there's only one product. So whenever you have multivalent, you have to show me all the next scenario we have is when we have a non-metallic oxide plus water. Now, non-metallic oxide, an example of that is, let's just pick one. We'll go sulfur. Okay, that's a non-metal. And an oxide of that is O2, or O3 I'm going to pick. I'll explain why in a second. And we combine this with water. Now, when you burn stuff coming from your exhaust pipe, SO3 will actually go up into the atmosphere, leaving your car, going up in the atmosphere, mix with the water in the air, and it will actually form this chemical here, H2SO4, which is an acid, sulfuric acid. And take a look. The key thing that I remember is I got 3 oxygens here, 1 here, 4 here. So they add up. And we know that sulfuric acid is the common acid for sulfur. So another example that we would have is another component that leaves your exhaust pipe, specifically if you have an old car, is nitrogen dioxide. Now this one will combine again to form, if we take a look here, nitric acid. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to balance that guy out, but that's what that looks like. In our last example, we have a metallic oxide, so something with oxygen again, plus water equals a metal hydroxide, which is a base. I'll explain what that means in a moment. And if we take a look at our metallic oxide, so let's pick one. Let's go calcium oxide. Calcium has a 2 charge, oxygen has a 2 charge, so it's just CaO. If you take that and combine that with water, what it's saying is that you have a metal hydroxide plus water will make a base. So what I do is to make a base is I put my calcium, which is my metal, and then I put hydroxide, which is OH. If we look at the charge on the back of the periodic table, these are the charges you cross over, CaOH2. That's an example of a metal oxide plus water equals a metal hydroxide. Next, what we have is that's the end of synthesis. We're going to talk about decomposition reactions. Decomposition reactions is when a big compound breaks into 2 smaller, simpler compounds, okay? The analogy that we have for this is divorce. So divorce, so yes, boo, divorce. So you have AB, a big reactant, turning into 2 separate products. It's the opposite of synthesis. So examples we have, first one is a binary compound decomposing into its elements. So I'm going to pick one quickly. We have KCl, potassium chloride. Now that can break down into its elements. It is made up of potassium and chloride. Remember that chloride is diatomic because it's on the periodic table. And we put a 2 here and we balance it out. That is an example of that. Next one that we have to remember is anything with a nitrate. So an ionic compound with a nitrate. So what we would do is KNO3, pick potassium again, positive, negative charge. It's all balanced out. And it decomposes. A big thing's going to break down into, it says, a metal nitrite. So what I do is I put my K and then I put my nitrite, which is just NO2, and I have oxygen left over. Now the next trick is just to balance it, but that is an example of that type of reaction. So if we look at the balancing here, I just put a 2 and a 2, and I've actually balanced it all out, and that's what that looks like there. Another type of reaction we have is when we have a metal carbonate decomposing into a metal oxide and carbon dioxide. So let's pick a metal carbonate. Pick a metal, pick carbonate. So I picked Na2CO3. Then what it's going to say is it's going to break down into metal oxide, which is NaO, because that's the oxygen there. 2, cross it over, Na2O, good. Get rid of my charges at the top. Plus carbon dioxide, CO2, take a look. And that guy's actually all balanced out already, and that's what that looks like. So you have a carbonate, it breaks down into oxide and carbon dioxide. And finally, we have a metal hydroxide decomposing into a metal oxide and water. Let's look at that one very, very quickly. So I picked calcium hydroxide. I remember that calcium has a 2 charge. Hydroxide has a 1 charge, so it's CaOH2. And it's saying that it's going to break down into a metal oxide. So I put calcium and oxygen. That has a 2 and a 2, so they cancel out. And we have a water, which we know is there. And then it just comes down to balancing this guy out. Now to balance this one, some of you guys, well, actually just take a look at it. We have two hydrogens, 2 oxygens, and 1 calcium. It is already balanced. It's good to go. So let's take a look at a couple of examples I'd like you to do before class tomorrow. Okay, let's look at this example. We have iron plus chloride. Guys, is this synthesis or decomposition? Dun, dun, dun. Think about it. It is synthesis because you have 2 reactants forming 1 product. Now this guy is actually going to be multivalent, so go ahead and try and give it an answer on your own. Go through your notes, see if you can give me an answer, and pause it, see if you get this answer. If you realize that this is a synthesis reaction, you can either have a 2 or a 3 charge, so you actually have to show both of these. Then it's a matter of balancing them out. This one is balanced. This needs to be balanced here. So these are the 2 equations that you'd need to do. Let's try one more quickly. The next one we have is copper 2 carbonate. Think about it, guys. Is it synthesis or decomposition? Take a moment, ladies and gentlemen. What is it? This will be decomposition because it has one reactant. So if we look at it, the formula of this compound is CuCO3. And we know that carbonates always break down into what? Well, carbonates look commonly like CO2. So when you actually heat them up, the plus sign there, it will actually release CO2 gas. And what else did it say? What else were we supposed to remember? And an oxide. So it will be CuO. Okay, now copper has a 2 charge there, so it will continue to have a 2 charge, and that's exactly what it looks like. Let's look quickly. Is this balanced? Yep, if we do a quick scan, it is balanced. Please do this one question before class tomorrow. I'm sorry, please try and do both of these. Lithium plus oxygen, what kind of balanced chemical equation would that make? And what will lithium hydroxide do when it's a reactant? Only one reactant. If you think this will be a synthesis, this will be decomposition, show those at the beginning of class tomorrow. Thanks for listening. We're going to be doing combustion next.